So I was just talking with a friend about my Deluge project that was published on Saturday. And we were talking particularly about Daz Studio and about the CGI characters that are used. Now, this is a friend who first told me about Daz Studio and gave me a lot of advice over the years on how to use it. Like, this man spent so much time. Every time I got really stuck on something, he was the guy who would show me how to fix it, show me how to fix the lighting, show me how to make things work with the characters. He was my go-to Daz guru, and he did not mind even repeating himself and telling me the same thing, several times. So, an amazing friend. So, what we were talking about is a lot of what makes these characters beautiful is what you might think of as their flaws. And I hate even calling them flaws because it's stuff that makes that particular character unique physical features that they have. And one example that I was pointing out was the Victoria 9 character. Brand new character with the Genesis 9 Daz models, and yes, that's really what they're called. The dolls that I'm used are called Genesis, Genesis 2, Genesis 3, Genesis 8, Genesis 8.1, and now they're on to Genesis 9. So different generations of the characters for that technology. But Victoria 9 is one of the newest models, a very advanced character, and they had an option for her to have a vitiligo skin. And I hope I'm saying the name of that condition right. But basically what it is it's somebody with vitiligo will have patches of skin that are different shades from the rest of their skin. Now the Victoria 9 character is already very light skinned. She looks like she's a redhead natively. So the variations in the skin patches aren't as apparent as they might be in somebody of African descent, for example. But you look at the pattern and it's very striking and very beautiful. So I had this character and I had her being, I had this king and queen at the Tower of Babel, and I had her as the queen. Now, the Bible only tells us so much about what happened, so there is some artistic license involved here. But I said, okay, I'm going to make her the queen. I gave her dreadlocks, gave her, I went through several dresses before I finally found one that worked correctly with this model. And that scene with the king and queen at the top of the Tower of Babel, that was one of the hardest scenes to make in this video. It actually took me weeks to get it right. And I was going to try to do a video thing where they were going to move a little bit, but I couldn't quite get there. But what my friend and I were talking about is characters that are quote-unquote flawless, they end up looking like a mannequin. And they ironically don't look beautiful. And he said this is actually a well-known thing in the CGI community, where if you have a character that's absolutely flawless, they're absolutely perfect, quote-unquote, they end up looking like a piece of plastic. And they don't look beautiful. And then we were talking about these celebrities that go and get plastic surgery, and lo and behold, they end up looking like a piece of plastic. Because they basically remove their flaws. They remove the things that make them human and make them interesting. And then something just doesn't look right about them. So, there's definitely a lesson here. Whatever that thing is that you're self-conscious about, consider that, if God made you just this average mannequin where there was nothing different, nothing special about you physically, you would just look like a mannequin and just blend in with the crowd. Or maybe you would stand out because, you know, you'd look like a mannequin, you know, walking around. But take that into consideration. So if there's something about you, maybe you have a scar, maybe there's, maybe you don't like the color of your eyes, maybe you don't like the shape of your head, maybe there's something about you don't like and you wish you were different. Take that into consideration. Now, as a man, one of the things that I was concerned about when I was a teenager and a young adult, I was self-conscious about having a lot of chest hair. And that was something that really, I really didn't like about myself. And yeah, you can shave, you can, you know, do things, but it was something that made me feel very self-conscious. And then, lo and behold, Henry Cavill came out in the Man of Steel movie, and he was shirtless, muscled, great-looking dude. And not only was this this feature not looked down upon, and not just tolerated, it was glamorized. You know, you have this dude who's holding up this oil rig that was about to fall, and here he is, muscled and chest hair, and I looked at that and said, hey, this is something that can be desirable. It's not something I have to feel self-conscious about. So keep that in mind. Whatever features you feel like you don't like about yourself, maybe rethink it. Try to look at it from God's perspective and say, why was I made a little different? Why was I made to look like this? And of course, that's not to say that there aren't things we should change. You know, if you're overweight, then that was something else my friend and I were talking about, is me feeling self-conscious about my weight. And it's like, hey, you know, I'm going to the gym, I'm doing what I have to do, but I also shouldn't be mean to myself about it. You know, it's just because I have a few extra pounds does not make me a bad person. And he also pointed out, like, yeah, Greg, you're also super tall, which means that the scale is going to be a little higher than what it's going to be for somebody who was 5'6" or something. So I hope this is something that you guys can take. I don't believe in a lot of what's being pushed by the quote-unquote body positivity movement, where they want to say you can be 600 pounds and still be healthy. So don't take this to the other I think there's some extremes on both sides that people can take. But I think that a lot of features can be very beautiful. I think people with very dark skin are beautiful. I think people with very light skin are beautiful. I think people with caramel tones, gold skin tones, the whole spectrum is gorgeous. And I find it very sad. There's a lot of black women who feel like they have to bleach their skin. And that sounds scary to me, because that cannot be healthy. And I'm somebody who, I think all the skin complexions are gorgeous. And I remember there was one girl in the 9th grade who had almost a gold skin color. She might have been Hispanic, but she had a darker end of the medium complexion, and she had just absolutely gorgeous skin. And you know what? It was something very unique. It was something different. And at some point in history, and in many cultures today, that might have been frowned upon. So don't think of your differences as bad. Don't think of your differences as flawed. They're the things that make you beautiful. And if I might say it, those differences are what make you in your own way a king or a queen. So, thank you for hearing my thoughts. If you haven't seen it yet, go check out my deluge video. It's right here on my channel, whether you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, or Rumble. Go ahead and go check out my video, and let me guys know what you think in the comment section. This is Greg, out.